Good morning. Okay, I wanted to give you a tour of the Instructor Resource Center and MindTap. And MindTap is what is included with the loose leaf version of the book. A lot of instructors are using this as either a required piece of the class or as an extra ancillary for students because opening a MindTap course also gives students the ability to just purchase MindTap on its own, which includes an ebook, and that's the cheapest price that they can get, even more so than a rental. So this is your Instructor Resource Center. Your username is your email address. Password is welcome1 with a capital W. I've loaded the book for you. I'm going to show you MindTap in just a second. All the instructor companion resources are right here, so PowerPoints, etc. The testing software, so to generate tests in any different format, is right here. There is a link to a tutorial when you click here. But MindTap, like I said, comes with it, the ISBN or the loose leaf version of the book. So I just want to give you a quick tour. I'm going to say create a course. I'm just going to say demo for now. MindTap pre-populates for students, so you actually have the ability to customize. I'm just going to say Downing demo. Students also get 2 weeks of free access from the start date, so they can get to the ebook, get to assignments right away without having to rush to the bookstore, or if they're waiting for financial aid, they can get to all the material right away. And that is actually a date we cannot, that's flexible. So if students are having an extra hard time in a certain class, we can actually extend that. So I've just created my course. Here's my student instructions right here. Students would use this URL to just plug right into the course. This is also integratable into Canvas, something that if you did want to use this on a required basis, we could work on training. It's very easy. But this is just my information page that's populated the first time that I create a course. But now if I go back to my Instructor Resource Center, I can always get those student instructions through my Manage Courses tab here, but now I can just enter the course right here. Again, I've just created a demo for you. You can quickly create your own courses, give students those instructions to get in. I'm happy to come speak with them on the first day of class as well if you want to implement any portion of this in your class. Everything that you see is customizable. So I just skipped some tours. Everything you see is customizable, and everything that you see is also what students see, except for that you have the ability to customize, and then some of the little nuances would be a little different for students. So right here we have like an at-a-glance gradebook where as students begin to take assignments, those will populate right here. So you can just quickly see a class average. This can actually be removed, which I prefer. To do that, I just go to my course settings tab, dashboard, and get rid of that because I actually think that if I want to see all that information, I can get it on the gradebook tab, which is on the right side of the page down below called progress. Otherwise, I like to work from this bigger plane. So I always get rid of that. So we organize everything into chapter modules, but first we have how to use MindTap, so it walks students through the process. And then if we expand here, we actually have some self-assessments. The first one is our CSFI, which we've developed on our own, and it is patterns of behavior, where we quiz students on 10 different areas. And again, it's a self-assessment. So they'll go through it. Anything that's in here, you can actually click into and experiment with yourself, just like a student would for now. It doesn't usually take this long to load. My husband's working in his office, and I think we're sharing internet. At any rate, students will go through. It's going to give them instructions. They're going to go through, and they're going to be quizzed on 10 different kind of concepts that are proven to, or that we've researched it and are proven to show that they're helpful with student development in college. So it might be time management, it might be money management, it might be family support, things like that. At any rate, students will go through and take 100 questions, or 100, they'll have 100 questions. They'll get a score, but it's just a score based upon the completion of it. Then what you can do is actually pull up and find students' areas as a class whole of strengths and weaknesses. So if your class as a whole is struggling with time management, you can kind of reevaluate the class or spend a little bit more time on certain areas where the class is struggling as a whole. So we have that one here. And then we have a couple other just tasks: set your goals, create an academic calendar, some soft skills assessments, etc. Again, everything that you see is customizable. So I can customize the point value. I would add actually a due date and an available date, so students couldn't get into something until I made it available. I can actually expand on the definitions here, and I'll show you all of that in a second. So I have that one folder first, and then I have my chapter folders. And as I expand them, students are going to expect to see the same things in each chapter. So we have the chapter ebook right here. Students can take notes and highlights within the ebook. Excuse me. Those notes and highlights can be created, study guides can be created based upon those. Students can have the ebook read to them. There is a read speaker in there. Again, something I can show you in more depth if you'd like. So the students will have a chapter quiz. They have a personal responsibility task. And then there's the connecting to campus where we're going to give them a task. And then they might have to upload evidence of whatever the task was connecting to the campus. So they're getting familiar with how to find the resources they need. What would you do? This would be a scenario-based personal. This one's on personal responsibility. And then a chapter reflection. Some of these might be manually graded by you, which you would get an alert. You can actually filter those out, though, if you don't want any manually graded. But again, you can click into anything you want. So students will see the same thing in each chapter. If I click my edit tab on now, I have the ability to edit everything. So I can actually come here, I can edit the description. This is where I can put in available and due date. I can move the location if I want, so I can even reorder chapters. And then I can edit different activity options depending on what kind of activity it is. I can put a limit of time limit on something. I can give them multiple attempts or one attempt. I can change the point value and I can do all that right here. And then I save it and it's all done. It applies that right there. Likewise, I can say, you know what, I don't want this available until the 12th, and it would be due on the 15th at midnight or 11 o'clock. There's mine, and I save it. And then that has automatically gone right in here, so students actually see when it is available and when it's due. They would not be able to get into it if it wasn't available. This would be grayed out and they couldn't click into it. You can also hide things. So if there's something I don't want to use, I can just hide it altogether. It gets rid of it from here and from the student page. I can show my hidden just by clicking here, and then it will say show a hidden assignment. If I go here to my calendar view, students will be able to see as you put start and end dates here, they can easily see what is available in a given week and what's due. So they can just move via this calendar view and click into whatever is due in that given week. They can go to the learning path view as well, which again will look the same as yours, except for that instead of seeing for instance, instead of seeing how many submitted, they would just see any of the parameters that there are points available, if they've attempted it, if it's in progress. And actually, as students complete things, this will be greened out so that they'll know that they're green and good to go on any of those given assignments. On the bottom here, we actually have extra resources for students. So these are some study skills toolboxes that we have. These can actually be moved up into the learning path if you wanted to assign them within a chapter. Then we have our chapter video library and a journal entries. These are the journal entries that students are seeing within the text already. So this is where you would actually go and manually grade those. Something again, if I were to turn my edit tab on, I could hide them all together. If I actually click more than one thing at one time, I can batch action it. So I can batch edit dates and I can hide things all very quickly. We actually do have an entire department that works with you to customize your course. If you would like to, for instance, customize the first chapter, and then we can go through the preceding chapters and customize those with your direction. On the right-hand side of the page, we have MindTap apps. The students have access to a school portfolio where they can begin to build a portfolio they can have access to after the course is over. We have a notes tab where they can take notes and highlights that would flow into Evernote, RSS feed tab, glossary. We have the full ebook right here. So rather than the chapter sections, the study hub where the notes and highlights that they take within the ebook are housed, and they can create study guides based upon those. The read speaker, if they need something read to them, they can manipulate that right here, change the speed of the reading, male or female voice, etc. And then actually you also have the ability to add assignments. So you can, if you're not going to use Canvas, this can kind of work as a substitute where you can actually add any of these types of activities. So you can pull out of your own Google Drive if you want to add a midterm. All of our or a test, all of our test banks are actually housed within MindTap. There's different types of activities. Again, we could get into that if you really were interested in implementing this in your course. But then they have flashcards here as well. So some of these actually are not for, there's Questia, that's resources for them. Some of these they don't have access to, for instance, like this Cengage Now homework app. That's just a homework bank where you can actually add more. And then different ways to edit what is already in there can be done this way. But again, this is just a quick overview. Providing students with that ISBN for the bookstore gives them even the ability to use this as practice. So if you were to just use this as a practice mode for students, we can move everything into practice so that they don't see that there's anything counts towards the grade for no confusion, or there's a lot of instructors that use this as a required piece. Because MindTap has the ebook in it, again, students, once they use that URL to get in your class, they are prompted with either paying for MindTap directly through the system or entering the access code from the bookstore. So let me know if you have any questions. I just want to go through how to access those resources and what's available. And if you want to use MindTap, or if you get that ISBN into the bookstore, let me know so I can just make sure you're situated either way. All right, have a great day.